What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we're going to be taking a look at Once Upon a Galaxy. This is a brand new auto battler from some of the people previously behind Storybook Brawl, and I can't wait to play this game. In fact, I couldn't wait to play this game. I've already looked at it a little bit. Sometimes with these first looks, I will do live reactions here with you. For this one, I got a little bit antsy and I decided to play it myself a little bit before showcasing it in this video. So I already know a lot about what's going on in this game. I've probably played, I don't know, 40 games in the limited time that I have it, and I do really like it, but I'm not going to get into all of my thoughts on the game right in this initial video, partially because a lot of things are they're still figuring out what the game is ultimately going to look like, right? But for those of you that want to follow along with future Once Upon a Galaxy content, or you just want a little primer before you dive into the game yourself, this is going to be sort of an introductory video where I'm going to go over basically every decision that I make, and I'm going to read every single card. I'm going to assume you've never played or seen any content from the game previous to this video. So, without further ado, let's hit that play game. Oh, and by the way, I'm playing this on mobile. I haven't totally figured out how to emulate the game yet, but yeah, so I'm just playing on my screen here in front of me, and hopefully we don't get too many more camera freezes. But right off the bat, we are told to choose a captain. We have Thing in the Ice, Athena, and Toy Commander. This is a process that is very similar to you if you've played Storybook Brawl or Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Most auto battlers have this initial moment, which comes with a lot of information to hit you right away. You have to make a very important decision, possibly the most important single decision that you have to make in the game is the first decision that you make. And auto battlers really front load the decision-making process in this way. And that's going to be true here in Once Upon a Galaxy as well. Actually, probably even more true than any other auto battler, because this is not just an auto battler, there is also a collectible and deck building element to it, which we're gonna have to get into right now. But before we get into that, let's take a look at our three different potential captains. Thing in the Ice, and I'll let you know I'm probably going to take this one. It's potentially a little bit confusing for the first video here, but I think it's one of the sweetest captains. After you lose your first heart, you can see we've got 3 hearts right here, your captain is revealed at random. Its captain powers are doubled. Why I love this one? Sure, it's random. I love random. That's fine with me. But doubling a captain's power just has the highest chance to high roll and is probably better than any singular captain power otherwise. Another option here is Athena, which I've actually never played with. When one of your characters is KO'd, give it +2 attack. Give your characters that survive a battle get +2 health. Okay, a little bit of wording to fix up there potentially, but funny, I never even noticed that until this video. But yeah, give your characters that survive a battle get +2 health. Yeah, okay, I was reading that correctly. So Athena does not seem bad. A little bit of a tempo hero. You know me though. I like to high roll. I like to go crazy. We're gonna try to do something fun in my first Once Upon a Galaxy video. And then once you summon a character during a fight, give its slot +1/+1. Increase this by +1/+1 when you golden a toy. A lot to unpack here. Potentially more to unpack than I even want to get into, and that's why I'm saying there's like a lot of front-loaded information during the captain select, as there is with any auto battler. But we're not going to worry about what all of those things necessarily mean right now. We're just going to take Thing in the Ice. We're going to push those decision makings down the road a little bit, and we're just going to take the captain that gives us some randomness. And now you see we have two different buttons on the screen. We can go for it, or we can edit deck. And I just want to showcase this feature a little bit, but I'm not going to dive into it. This is a lot. This is definitely information overload. However, it is designed in mind, or with the fact in mind, that you could just completely gloss over all of this information right now. But what is at least currently planned, and we're in early in this closed beta here for Once Upon a Galaxy, but the current plan is that you'll be able to open up booster packs to get cards. There will be a standard pool that you see every game, and then you have your deck, which you get to customize a little bit, and you can customize it per each captain. And then you'll see varying different cards depending on how you customize this 12-card deck. And interestingly, you can play, let's take out Aladdin here for a second. You can play an 11-card deck, and you can still say done, and you can hit go. We're gonna throw Aladdin back in. I like Aladdin, it's cool. We can go through and read every single card here and figure out the perfect cards, but we don't really know what our captain is yet, so it might be hard to figure out the exact perfect combination for whatever I want to do with Thing in the Ice, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. But there's a lot of room for customizability. This is also how they are potentially planning on monetizing the game, having basically like a booster pack system and a lot more customizability. We'll get into, I guess, my thoughts on that and more strategies and ideas that I have about this system in future videos. But for right now, I'm just gonna hit done. I want to call them champions. Each captain comes with a pre-built deck when you download the closed beta version of the app, and you are ready to just hit go and go into the game with that champion, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And that's actually what I recommend. That's what I did for, well, I think I messed around with it my first game, but it was too much. Then I just started hitting go, and I started playing a whole bunch more games until I got a little bit more comfortable with what I was actually looking at. And now I have a little bit more of an idea of what might be good, what might be bad, and it's kind of intentional that you can skip this feature for now and maybe come back to it, and we'll revisit this down the line, I'm sure, many times as the developers are still kind of figuring out what they want to do exactly with this feature. Now, we're going to get into the game. So the key thing that you need to know, oh, you know what? I can use my mouse. I just realized this. Yeah, I can use my computer mouse here over top of the screen. So little bit of information that we have on the screen. We've got our captain. We've got our current remaining hearts. We've got our shop. That's right here. This is, I'm not sure if it has an official name, but this lets us know what stage of the game we're on, both with turn 1 and this symbol, which lets us know what level we are, and also what stage of the turn we are on. So on this turn, we are currently in a moon shop. Next up, we have another moon shop, and then it's into combat. And every turn follows that structure until you start messing with some things. You get a moon shop, or it's not always going to be a moon shop, but you get a shop, and then a battle. Pretty straightforward. This is just a symbol where you can toss cards that you no longer decide that you want, and then this is where we're going to be playing our different cards too. No bench, at least not that I have found. No bench in this game, so that's similar to Super Auto Pets, I believe, which just has, if you're taking something, you're playing it, otherwise you're tossing it. And now let's take a look and read these different cards. And let's go ahead and read Laser Shark first. So Laser Shark is a common animal villain Common is indicated by this symbol right here. We can only see commons the first 2 turns of the game. Then we'll start to see commons alongside uncommons, I believe they are going to be called. And it is a 1/1, 1 attack and 1 health. And it has ranged. It's also an animal villain. Both of those are types that we can potentially play around with. We'll see some villain synergies in just a second. And then ranged is a mechanic that we're probably already familiar with. It allows the character to attack and deal damage without receiving damage at the same time. And it's a nice little space shark there with a laser on its head. Very cool. This is another mechanic that's going to look pretty similar to Storybook Brawl fans. Pix has support. She is a common fae. Support +2 health, and those go to the characters in front. So if I were to take Pix and put it right here, then this spot and this spot would both have 2 health for as long as Pix is in this position. But what I'm going to wind up grabbing this turn is a questing character that is the Evil Stepmother. She's a common villain, 3/1, so best stats out of the options in the current shop, and she also has a quest ability that allows you to grab a treasure by recruiting, aka purchasing, 3 villains. And it's going to be a pretty easy quest to complete, so it's definitely one that I will want to pick up. You'll also notice no spells in these opening shops, just 3 different characters, and that's going to remain consistent for this first turn. So I'm going to pick that up. I think that's an easy enough quest to complete. And then we do find a villain in this next shop. So I might be taking that. Pix, we've already seen that one. Mysterious Egg is actually not a quest character. It just has a different kind of cooldown counter on it, which is after 3 turns, I hatch into a random character 1 level higher than your shop. I'm not super interested in the Mysterious Egg just yet, I don't think, because it will cause me to lose this first combat and lose a heart. So I don't think that that is a price that I'm willing to pay just yet, and I'd rather pick up a villain to work towards my Evil Stepmother, and that is going to be the Jealous Stepsisters. Now, this is not a great card just by itself. This card needs some support, literally needs a support card to pump it up, usually. There's a lot of different ways to pump it up. Right now, I'm mostly just taking it because it has the most stats and because it is a villain. But this card has Quest. I deal 6 damage in a single battle. Not like one fight, but one whole battle. All the back and forths that a battle would contain. So I'm going to pick up these Jealous Stepsisters. As you can see or guess, like the Laser Shark had full high-res colored art. A lot of these arts are just black and white or temporary placeholders. And we also see placeholder images on all of our potential opponents here because we don't know what any of them are. And I did cover this in the previous video, sort of announcing Once Upon a Galaxy, but the way that the lobby system works in this game is all 5 of these players, this is basically ripped right out of Fairy Tale Fables, and probably some other games have used it too, but I'm most familiar with it from Fairy Tale Fables. These 5 opponents here are 5 real players that have actually played this game and played like these actual games that we're going to see, just not right now. You can play live games. Currently, live games are only lobby-based, and I didn't want to do that for this first video because then I'd be holding up an entire lobby while I explain everything super in-depth. We're 15 minutes. We're at least 10 minutes into this video. I'm not sure how much I cut out while I was fiddling around with my camera, but and we're on turn 1 of the game. So that would have taken a while for everybody else. So in the future, I think I will do some live games as well, but this one is just going to be against other players that it is cool because like we are definitely in a lobby with these 5 real ghosts, but there might not be, like, our opponents won't be able to react to what we're doing. They're set in stone. All of their moves have already been made. We grab a win off this first combat. We don't get anything for that, but we don't lose anything for it either, which is great. And then we will head back into the shop. And okay, this is potentially going to be a tougher pick than some of the previous ones. I think I know what I'm picking, but let's take a look at our options. We've got Puss in Boots. I keep going from right to left just because I'm going to wind up picking Aladdin, so I'm kind of like showing the card that I'm going to pick last to kind of build the momentum here. But yeah, just kind of funny how that keeps on working out. But Puss in Boots is a pretty good card. I do love picking up Puss in Boots early. It has Hunt. You might know that as Slay from Storybook Brawl. When I attack and KO a character, you trigger the Hunt ability, which in this case is give my slot +1 attack. Now, we've seen that word before, slot. And I didn't talk about it because I knew we'd see a Puss in Boots pretty early on. This card is partially here to introduce you to the concept of slots. So we've got 5 slots in this game, and you might notice that, like, right here on the board, there is a little circle, not the little circle appearing over my mouse, but the little circle on the bottom. You know, these are more or less the same shape as the cards, and you can put stats on the board in these slots right here. You've got 5 different slots. You can put stats on those, so that way as you move around your characters, oh right, that mouse doesn't work, but as you move around your characters, they will be able to keep, basically you can like sell off old characters, buy new characters, and keep those stats that you've gained in those slots to whatever you decide to slot in there later on. Hopefully that makes sense. It'll make sense in just a moment if it doesn't right now though. We also have Toto, which has Recruit. Your next shop has a quest character. We're already working on a few quests right now, so I'm not sure that we need to do that. And then I think I'm going to take Aladdin. Aladdin, I think, is one of the better cards in the game. When you silver me, doesn't mean anything to you right this second, discover a bonus treasure in addition to the bonus shop. So just take my word for it that that is pretty good. I almost don't want to take Aladdin because it will potentially complicate this tutorialization of everything. But I think Aladdin's the best card, potentially sets us up for some cool things down the line. So let's grab that. And you know what? One other thing that's kind of interesting. So we are going to grab a villain here after that. I'll read all these cards too. So almost forgot, but I didn't take that hatching egg in the previous shop. I potentially could have, because taking some hearts could actually be good for Thing in the Ice. Then we'll figure out what our captain is, and that will inform some of our other decisions, but playing to preserve your health total isn't a horrible idea regardless. Baby Bear says, each fight, give your animals slots +1 health. This is a pretty cool card. The Puss in Boots has to slay, has to hunt in order to get +1 attack just for itself. Baby Bear just says, just play an animal, and you're getting that bonus stat on the slot even. So that winds up working out pretty well. We could also take a villain that says when one of your pirates attacks, give them +2 attack. That is to the pirate, not to the slot. But Mr. Smee is also a villain, so I think I'm into it. I'm going to take Mr. Smee because Aladdin is also a pirate. As we can see, it's a pirate hero, but that way Mr. Smee will pump up this Aladdin as well. And now we are up against the Rashi. Aladdin is going to trade off there, and we're gonna get our wish here. We're going to lose a heart. We lost this combat, and because my opponent, so you can either lose a heart during a fight, or you can lose half a heart. If your opponent only has 2 cards left, then you only lose half a heart. But because my opponent had 3 cards left, we lose a full heart here. You can see, you can get out of this game very, very quickly, but because we lost a heart, now we have a Captain Power. We are Chucky. Your toys and villains have +4 attack. And I said we were going to need some ways to pump up the jealous stepsisters. Oh, your toys are villains. Oh, I thought it said your toys and villains. No, it says your toys are villains. Oh, that's really interesting. And then we see a shop that is 3 toys. 3 toys, and now we also have the ability to pick up a spell. So a lot going on here. You can see that the symbol up in the top corner is now green, and that indicates that we are on the uncommon of, we can see this green text down here. We are on the uncommon level, so every 2 turns, you level up. And that's just automatic. There's no current ways to interact with that. And once you level up, then you can start to see things that are that level and lower. What do we got in this shop? Well, we got a bunch of toys, and we got some fun toys here, really, to play around with. Oh, and we also have a spell. So we only have 2 shops. If we take a look, we've got the current shop that we're on, then 1 more uncommon shop, and then we're battling, right? If we take a spell, that counts as one of our shops. So it's not just like we get a spell for free. There is a real cost to taking a spell. It means that we won't be able to take one of these other 2 cards. So I'm probably going to pick up one of these big cards right here because it looks like they will be able to give us a bunch of power. And the options are Nutcracker Prince Farewell, which is a last breath. It's a death rattle trigger for Battlegrounds players, and it says farewell, give one of your heroes +3/+3. Hero is a type. Hero doesn't just mean anything, it means specifically something that has the hero type. We saw Aladdin was a hero, and Katamari is also a hero. It is actually all types. Katamari is just a cat picking up a bunch of everything. So it's currently telling us that it is a pirate because we have Pirate Matters card on the bench here, or on our board here, but it's also telling us it's a villain because we have a Villain Matters card, and we have Chuck E making all of our toys villains. So that is why Nutcracker Prince is currently a toy villain hero. Usually things are either a villain or a hero, right? And Snowball is a toy villain in addition because of Chucky. And Snowball might not look super familiar to you. I mean, it's just a bunch of snowballs. But this is kind of the Puff Puff of the game. Farewell, I get +1/+1, then increase this bonus by 1, which means next time it dies, it's going to get +2/+2. Next time it dies, it's going to get +3/+3. So it can really snowball, really do some crazy stuff, and it seems like a great opportunity to be able to pick this up on turn 3 here. So pretty fantastic. Now when we do, this will be our final villain because Chucky is making Snowball a villain. There is very quickly, we are snowballing in terms of complexity here. There's very quickly a lot to pay attention to. But when we complete this quest, this will allow us to select our first treasure of the game. And you can now see we are in a treasure shop, and we still have an uncommon shop followed by a battle after this. Because we completed the quest of a common character, we get to select a common level treasure. So let's take a look at the potential options here. When you cast a spell, give your characters +1 health. Your buffs from spells give an additional +1/+1. And when you summon a character, give it +5 attack. Well, I don't think that we're necessarily going to need more attack on our summons, but it is synergistic with Chucky, which we already have, which is giving +8 to toys. So if we can find some ways to summon some toys, then they've got +13 attack. All of a sudden that is seeming pretty strong. So I'm gonna grab the Elven Tools, and then we get another shop here. We've got the Gingerbread House, which has Farewell, give my neighbors +2 attack. There's also Santa Claus, which is a mage hero and says when I survive damage, summon a random toy. Well, that's kind of what we're trying to do, right? So Santa Claus might be a pretty good pickup here, I think. And then we have Itsy Bitsy Spider, which is just an animal hero, or we could roll the die a little bit. So we've got one uncommon character here and then two common ones in Gingerbread House and Itsy Bitsy Spider, but we could use You Meet in a Tavern and just get a random character of my level, which is uncommon. You know what, let's go for that. We're living by the randomness, dying by the randomness here, and we get another random effect with that, the Karma Chameleon. Hunt, I transform into a character one level higher than your shop. It's Polywoggle. We love it. Karma Chameleon is a pretty interesting card. I think we should be able to make use of it fairly easily. And you might notice that we're full up here. This is turn 3. We've grabbed 2 cards every turn, so we don't actually have room for the Karma Chameleon, and there is no bench, so we're going to have to get rid of something here. And I think these Jealous Stepsisters are just not going to cut it. They're a 1/3. They're not looking to activate anytime. We could still potentially trigger or complete their quest down the line, but for right now, for today, I think we gotta call it quits. Karma Chameleon would be really, really cool if it can grab that slay, grab that hunt ability. And where is that gonna be the most likely to happen? Maybe if I throw it in this backline spot right here, it's possible. Let's give it a shot, and we are playing up against Kenny as Dorothy. Looks like Karma Chameleon could have slayed against anything in the front row, but it does get the 50-50 to slay against that opposing evil stepmother in the back row. Now I've got a fire-breathing dragon, which introduces some more mechanics to us here. It's got ranged, which we've already seen. It's a dragon, and it has treasure hoard, which gives it +1/+1 for each treasure you've found, and that is a static ability that hopefully we will be able to pump up, but it's still pretty good to have a 5/2 ranged at this stage of the game, so I think that is going to help me. Let's take a look at the spell Presence of Gaia, give a slot +2/+2. Not bad. Support, when a character in front of me attacks, give it +1/+1. That's also not too bad because that +1/+1. So in Battlegrounds, whenever you gain stats in combat, you lose them when you're outside of combat. Not how it works in this game. You gain stats in the combat, you get them for the next combat as well. Flying Monkey is a also like a pretty, so this was just Baby Dragon in Storybook Brawl. 3/2 common, attacks the back row. It's got flying, and it is a flying monkey. Sort of an interesting way to like make it a nod to Storybook Brawl there too. But monkeys are sneaky in addition to flying. And then we also have Pan's Shadow, which has recruit. That's another keyword we have not seen yet. Recruit abilities happen when you buy them, when you recruit them. Buffs from Fae give an additional +1 attack for the rest of the game, which means if we take a look at something like Tink, instead of having characters attacking getting +1/+1, they would get +2/+1 every single time. So picking up Pan's Shadow early, I think, is actually really important, really powerful. However, doesn't really seem like it's better than anything on the board. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take Pan's Shadow and I'm going to drag it up here to the top of the screen where I would ditch cards, and I'm going to throw it there as my purchase for the turn. And now I still got that recruit ability. No real way to verify that on the current screen, but I just got that recruit ability and I didn't have to mess with my board because I think that my current board is better than that would have been. Jack in the Box is going to be the pickup here. It is a 9/1 that summons a 14-1 because our summons are going to get the additional +5 attack. So Jack in the Box is going to be really, really good in terms of just making us stronger on the current board. Billy Bones is also pretty good though, a nice little setup card. It has Hunt. The next character that you recruit gets +5 attack, and then the Minotaur is just a vanilla card. And what do we want to replace? We could replace Mr. Smee, or we could replace the Evil Stepmother. I think I'm going to replace the Evil Stepmother at this point. And I'm also going to put my Snowball in the center because I want Snowball to die so I can start snowballing. So I'm just going to make sure that that happens as well, and no funny business happens here because I think we are like really, really powerful right now that we could potentially wind up not even like breaking the snowball. And you'll also notice I was trying to talk fast enough. You might have to rewind the video for a second. But before this fight, we had 1.5 hearts. We were down to 1.5 hearts, half our health. However, if you have a half heart and you win a fight, you heal back up to full. We'll never be able to heal this heart back up, but we can heal up cracked hearts, they're called, by winning fights. So that's a little bit more about how the combat is working in the game. This would have been great to pick up while we had a cracked heart. It's got quest Heal a Heart, so if you were able to win a fight with Tin Man in play, then you get a treasure for completing its quest. It could still be good. It's got reasonable stats as a 318, so it might be something that we want to consider. We also have Van Helsing. This is turn 5. We are seeing rare cards for the first time. Van Helsing is pretty cool because grabbing it right now so I'll read it here. Hunt your next shop as a character 1 level higher than your current shop's level, which means currently we're looking at rare. We would then be looking at like super rare stuff, I think they're called. We'll verify that in a second, but Van Helsing does seem like it could be pretty cool. It doesn't synergize with anything that we currently have on the board, but I think we can take it. And here's some interesting stuff kind of going on here. I think we can take it because we're just strong enough with this Jack in the Box. That's going to trade 2 for 1. Fire Breathing Dragon can also potentially give us a 2 for 1 trade. And I think that's going to buy us some flexibility. If you've seen any of my Storybook Brawl content, you know what I like to do. I like to get power so that I can take risks, so that I can get power, so that I can take risks, and just keep snowballing that as much as I can. I think that Van Helsing, I think that we're strong enough that we can take it as opposed to either of these toys that are currently on the board. And I almost wish that I had been pumping up my Mr. Smee this whole time, because Mr. Smee can pump itself, but it hasn't been able to attack once. So now it's a 2-2. Meanwhile, my Aladdin is bigger. If I cut the Mr. Smee, then my Aladdin won't continue to get bigger. But I think that's still the way to play it, especially because I think I want to order my board like this. And by the way, you can just drag cards right onto the board, and if you layer over top of something else, that's the equivalent of selling that other thing. So be careful with that, but it's also a way to play the game a lot quicker. You don't have to drag up here every time. I Am Root. I've actually never played this card. So it's a rare tree, 11/11, rooted to my slot. I don't even really know what that means. So I'm not going to find out in this video. We're going to grab the spell here, but Blind Mouse is a animal that says buffs on me are doubled, and then we also have Flying Monkey. We've seen that before, but we're going to take the spell because I want to kind of show this interaction. So normally if we would take the spell, we would then immediately go into the battle. However, Lost in the Woods says see a new shop, and this is a bonus shop that does not count. It doesn't count against you. It's just a bonus shop, and in that bonus shop you get to pick up some new stuff. And this new shop is going to give us another bonus shop actually, and I'll explain why, because we found our first silver card. But before we pick up Mr. Smee, let's take a look at the other stuff we've got going on. Plunder, Penny, Hunt, Increase your buffs from spells by +1 attack. Pretty cool. We don't currently have any other spell synergy, so I'm not super sold on it, but it's interesting. Captain Ahab has Hunt +1/+1, which is like just good in general regardless. And then also he's got a quest which says if he hunts your opponent's last remaining character, then you're gonna get out of there with a treasure. Captain Ahab is like kind of a trap because you want to put him last so that he'll hunt. But by putting him last, then you want to put him last so that he'll quest. But by putting him last, then he's less likely to hunt and less likely to grow from your other combat. So I don't know if we really want to go for that. And then we could pick up Twinkle Twinkle, which is the next character you recruit has +3/+3. But what we're actually going to do here, I mean, this decision's actually pretty straightforward for me. We're actually going to pick up Mr. Smee. And I am going to go ahead and replace my Aladdin now with Mr. Smee. And when you pick up a silver card, you might notice this is the exact same thing as the bronze version of this card, but with +1/+1. It is not done anything crazy. However, the second time you see anything in a shop, it is silver. And the bonus of drafting a silver card is you get a bonus shop, and you get to do it again. So we're going to do that again for this fire-breathing dragon because it's free. Just going to give +1/+1 to the fire-breathing dragon. I can't really, in most situations, come up with reasons not to grab silver cards. Now, here would actually be a good example. If we felt like the goodie bag or the fairy dragon were an improvement that we needed on the turn, taking the fire-breathing dragon just gives it +1/+1. And we get the bonus shop, but it just gives us +1/+1. Goodie bag is actually very good. Fairy dragon is also pretty strong. But just to simplify the decision making for right now, we're going to pick up the silver card. We're not going to read the spell or read those other two cards because picking up the silver card will allow us to go again here. And now we'll read these cards and make a decision here. So, Spoonful of Sugar, giving a character 4 health. Rose, which says recruit characters in your shop, get +1/+1. Now, I want to point out, Rose typically says characters in your shop get +0/+1. However, because we picked up Pan's Shadow earlier, now Rose's buff gives an additional stat than it typically would have, and now gives +1/+1 instead. Billy Bones we've already read, and then Sugar Plum Fairy says when you recruit a Fae, give your shop +2/+1 for the rest of the game. Same thing, this card typically says +1/+1, however, because we have picked up the Pan's Shadow, now it is +2/+1. And interestingly, Sugar Plum Fae and Rose, like if I wanted to buy Rose, I could just drag it right there. If I wanted to buy Sugar Plum Fae, I could just drag it right there. However, in keeping it, then I will be able to trigger other fairies in the future. So I'm actually going to pick up the Sugar Plum Fairy, and I'm going to toss Mr. Smee here. I'm going to keep Van Helsing. Like I said, I think that we're strong enough because of this Jack-in-the-Box and this Snowball and this fire-breathing dragon. And I'm confident enough that we can get a little bit greedy with some of these cards. I think that Van Helsing might be a little bit too greedy. And yeah, by the looks of it, it kind of is. This Puss in Boots surviving with 1 health is a little bit unfortunate, but we do get to take it out with the fire-breathing dragon there. And then we're going to take half a heart. But we can heal that half a heart back. It's lucky that we cleared my opponent's entire front line with just their back line. That means we can win a future fight and we can get all of that back. So, okay, there's actually a lot of options right here. So I think all 4 of these cards could be justifiable options. And that's going to make this pretty tricky. So what happens here is, well, first let's read Angel of Mercy. Repair a cracked heart. That's definitely tempting. However, we can get that cracked heart back just by winning a fight. So I might just focus on winning instead. I think that that is a pretty strong thing to do right now. 9.3 from Aladdin is a meaningful upgrade on compared to everything else. If we toss the Van Helsing, that would be a pretty meaningful upgrade because it's a silver card. We get to take it for free, and because it's Aladdin, it says that when you draft the silver version of Aladdin, discover a treasure in addition to the bonus shop. So you get the bonus shop, you get the treasure shop, and then you get 2 more shops for the turn. One of them is this one. So pretty incredible, and I could see picking it here. However, we could also take Fire-Breathing Dragon, which, unlike silver cards, when you pick up a gold card, Aladdin might seem like it has a lot more stats on it than it typically did. It was the bronze version was a 2/1. That's because the silver copy of Aladdin remembers all of the enhancements that were on the bronze one. And then it is also getting the bonus from the Sugar Plum Fairy. So that's why Aladdin is now a 9/3. But Fire-Breathing Dragon, in addition to just getting those additional stats for being something in the shop, also goes from Treasure Hoard 1 to Treasure Hoard 2. Plus, we're going to be grabbing a treasure because anytime you grab a gold card, you get a treasure. So, I think we're going to have to go for Fire-Breathing Dragon here. And I was debating trying to like tutorial this part of the game, but I kind of talked over this last time when we picked up the Fire-Breathing Dragon. I just took the Fire-Breathing Dragon and I placed it right over top of this one. You don't have to do that. You can actually take it and place it here, but it's still going to wind up in that slot, and that's because you can only have one of each named card. So that's what's going on there. And now let's take a look at these cards. Santa's Cookies, I think, might be toy related. When you summon a character, give its slot +1/+1. That's really good with Elven Tools and with our hero power. That might be what we have to pick, because then the Jack-in-the-Box will start giving +1/+1 to its slot every single turn. It won't get as crazy as Snowball does, but giving extra stats to a slot is really good with summons, because then both halves of Jack-in-the-Box get that, and if we replace Jack-in-the-Box down the line, then whatever we throw into there will also get those bonus stats. Your first shop each turn always has a legendary spell. That's pretty good in the end game, but I don't think it's what we need to grab right now. And then we have, at the start of each battle, give your characters +1/+1, then increase this by 1. A little bit of a snowball effect. And what is crazy about this treasure, Gravity Well, I believe in Fairy Tale Fables, this is a tier 7 treasure. It just seems so great to be able to pick this thing up early. So I'm definitely grabbing the Gravity Well here. That seems sweet to me. And now we've got 3 brand new characters. Let's read through them. Foul Lich. I gain +1/+1 when one of your other animals is KO'd. Okay, we don't really have any other animals. Maybe we could pick one up here with the Big Bad Wolf. Just says hunt +4/+4. Not bad. It's actually, that's a pretty big number, +4/+4. That is upgraded Lancelot levels, which is pretty crazy. We could potentially throw Big Bad Wolf in this Van Helsing slot because it's looking like we want to scale this board up. Gravity Well really rewards you for sticking out with the same character. So grabbing something like Big Bad Wolf that is going to be able to scale up, honestly, it might be the correct play. I don't think it's what I'm going to grab here. Let's read the spell first before reading Rudolph. Give your characters +1/+1. If you win this battle, give them a bonus +1/+1. Oh, you know what? We do really want to win this battle, don't we? I didn't think about that because I was about to grab Rudolph. Summon characters with 50 total stats, which is attack and health combined, which means when we start summoning, what are these again? 14/1 toys. Then that counts for 15, so we would need to summon that's 3 and a little bit more of toys here. Rudolph, we'd be able to complete that pretty quickly. However, I think I want to take Big Bad Wolf and try to heal this cracked heart. So the question is, am I tossing Van Helsing, which seems like it could be really cool with Gravity Well down the line, or am I tossing the Sugar Plum Fairy? And honestly, I think I'm going to toss the Van Helsing. I know that Sugar Plum Fairy is a little bit less stats, but I want to get some more value out of it before I toss it. And hopefully this 12-8 fire-breathing dragon can carry me a little bit here, as well as the Gravity Well. I take a hit from the Laser Shark, but Big Bad Wolf grabs a Slay and then can stay around in additional combat, and that is just a totally one combat. Wasn't even close. We could have played Van Helsing, but we will gain back that cracked heart that we had previously lost. We grab the Cruel Queen here. Support the characters in front of me of Hunt +3/+3. Quest, I see you hunt 6 times. That's pretty good and honestly going to be pretty doable with the Big Bad Wolf and Snowball. They're pretty large characters. We are also on turn 7 now, so we are going to get to see epic cards. That's what they're called. Perseus has Hunt +5/+5. So a little bit better than the Big Bad Wolf. And when you Golden Me, transform into a random legendary character. We also have Laser Shark and Lightning Bolt, which is 20 damage to an enemy. And I believe that's just random. I don't think that you select a slot with that. I'm going to try out the Cruel Queen here, though, I believe. I'm going to put the Cruel Queen right here. And I believe this will count as 2 slays. I'm not totally sure on that, though, to be totally honest. And we could add more. Oh, when any of your characters hunt. Right. So Scar has Hunt +2/+2. When any of your characters hunt, give villains in the shop +2/+2. The problem is... Oh. Oof. Okay, I'm really regretting not picking up the purple card in the last shop because we have True Love's Kiss up here, which is the same thing that it did in Storybook Brawl. It transforms a character into a random character 1 level higher. We could have had a legendary card this turn, so that would have been really cool and is a reason to potentially go for epic cards as soon as you see them. But unfortunately, I did not. I could still pick up Scar right here. The other options are Spoiled Prince, which says when you get a new toy, and I believe that counts towards recruiting and summoning, but I'm not actually sure. I haven't played this card yet. Spoiled Prince gets +4/+4. Does seem reasonably in line with some of the things that we're trying to do, but not in line with some of the other things. Mama Bear's great, by the way, and I think this is one of the best things to build around, like when you're learning the game, especially because it just puts up really great numbers really easily. And I play this still a lot. But at the start of each fight, give your animals slots +2/+2, which means you can sub out your animals for better animals as you level up, and animals can summon animals as well, so you can double and triple dip on those slot stats and get a lot out of them. The problem with Scar here is I don't see really how I fit it into the board, because I'm not cutting Jack in the Box. I don't want to cut Snowball. I don't really want to cut the Big Bad Wolf either. So it would just be cutting the Cruel Queen for a card that can synergize with the Cruel Queen. Yeah, I don't see it. So I think there's 2 options here. I think I could cut, or I could draft Scar just up here, and what that does is like kind of weird, but it basically levels it up and helps us potentially find epic treasures down the line. Or I could True Love's Kiss my fire-breathing dragon. That will become a rare gold card. I'm sorry. That'll become an epic gold card. It's already a rare. It's, yeah, it was common. Then it was the Karma Chameleon, which slayed and became the fire-breathing dragon. And then we could True Love's Kiss it up to a random golden epic card. You know what? I think that is a good idea. Let's True Love's Kiss the fire-breathing dragon. It's going to stay gold, and it's going to become Master of the Universe. When I'm attacked, I gain attack equal to the current attacker's current health. So this is like basically like Medusa? Is that right? When I'm attacked, I gain attack equal to your current health. Yeah, I mean, seems like it's Medusa, which I'm not sure if that's the best use of a golden card, but it's still going to be pretty strong for us. And let's see how much progress we can make here on the Cruel Queen. Yeah, it's going to be tough to find those slays. We're not going to find any, but we do get to trade pretty nicely with our Master of the Universe there, and we'll still grab a tie. So, fine with me. Let's look at these new cards. Might just pick up the Lost in the Woods here if I don't like anything else. When you recruit an animal or a hero, give it +4/+4, then increase this ability by 2. A lot of increasing of abilities and allowing things to snowball. You'll definitely notice that one thing that's really fun about this game, if you liked Storybook Brawl and if you liked my content, especially on Storybook Brawl, is it really encourages you to just find things that go absolutely crazy. It's been a little bit of one of my complaints for Fairy Tale Fables, that doesn't let you do the unhinged things. This game just says, no, everything's just going to get unhinged. Master of the Universe is just going to be like a, I mean, if I keep it around, it's just going to easily become like a 120 very quickly, as we'll see here. And that's fun. Because I like doing crazy high rolly things, and I like that the game wants me to do those things. Why did I bring that up? Oh yeah, because of Mighty Mouse. I don't think I'm going to take Mighty Mouse. I do kind of like Dragon Miser. When you collect your first treasure, you get a bonus shop. I think that that is very good. Do I have the stats right now to just cut Jack in the Box? Probably. The only thing that's holding me back here is I could just take a Lost in the Woods. It's a free roll. I don't love any of these things, and a free roll could just help me find some better stuff. So yeah, let's grab the roll here. Let's go for Lost in the Woods. And I could take another Lost in the Woods here, but I could also just take a Cruel Queen, level that up once. That's pretty good and basically free. I think that's what I'm going to wind up taking. I do just want to showcase Dash, which has Farewell, give your shop +1/+2. Pretty good. Trying to think, is this an effect that has been in other games? I don't think so. I think you have to work a lot harder to get this ability in other games. And then Bronze Goose, which says the second copy that you find of me is golden, skips right past the silver, and immediately gives you an epic treasure. I do like the Bronze Goose as well, but I'm just going to level up the Queen, which will allow me to cycle through, and then I'm going to level up the Big Bad Wolf. Because I saw Lol Nenko was the first thing, Lol Nenko joined the Once Upon a Galaxy Discord and asked, can I play Copycat in this game? The answer is yes. Sky Pirate says, hunt +2/+2 and trigger the farewell abilities of the characters behind me. So pretty cool. We could use the Sky Pirate here to like trigger the Jack in the Box. Actually using it on the Snowball. Wait a second. I think I'm just going to take Big Bad Wolf here because it's kind of free. But we could play Sky Pirate plus Snowball, but then my Snowball's in the back line, so I'm not super interested in that. Let's just grab the Big Bad Wolf and then see what else we got here. Frankenstein is a toy. I did not realize it's a toy. I guess Frankenstein is, yeah, I mean, it's like a Lego, right? That's pretty silly. I love a lot of the charm in this game. Just the Storybook Brawl team delivered with twists on fairy tales. That's what they love doing, and they definitely deliver that in this one. Frankenstein says whenever any character is KO'd, I get +2/+2, which is pretty good with Gravity Well. If we just want to like buy things and have them stick around, but there might actually be something here that is a little bit better than Gravity Well, and that is magnificent. So Itsy Bitsy Spider does nothing. Through the Looking Glass is a pretty good combat spell. It's very good. It's Pigomorph. It transforms a character into, and this is on your opponent here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got this confused. There is a Pigomorph spell. This is not it. This transforms a character into a random bronze character of your shop's level. So we could, for instance, turn Jack in the Box into potentially a Magnificent. But instead, I'm just going to take Magnificent. I'll read what it does here. It is a treasure hoard because it is a dragon villain, and it says when you recruit a villain, give it and me treasure hoard, which means Magnificent anytime you draft a villain, which we could just do that. That is what I'm going to do in the shop. None of this other stuff matters. I'm just going to take a villain and put it up there, and then Magnificent will have treasure hoard 2, meaning she's getting +4/+4. +2/+2 from each treasure that we have. So anytime we don't have something better to do, we just toss a villain. She just eats a villain and gets stronger in their path. Hermes has support, give my slot buff to the characters in front of me. We have not drafted any slot buffs this game. And then Sunflary, oh, I just noticed that, is support typically +7/+7, now +8/+7. Pick a Bag of Peppers is actually really fun a lot of times when you are building down a specific path. Right now, kind of not. I mean, I could use it to find a villain or a dragon, but it gives a character +3/+3, and then your next shop is all things like that. I'll read Davy Jones as well. It's Hunt and Farewell, +2/+2 to the slot, but I'm just going to use it for the treasure hoard, which you'll see gives Magnificent that +2/+2. And now we are up against Capulet Killer, who might already be dead. It said Ghost, so I think they were not long for this world. But we can now see the Cruel Queen did get 2 slays off of that combat, so we're slowly getting there. And now we can have 2 different options here, really. Oh, but this is good. This is actually really good because now not only are we going to pick up the Big Bad Wolf because it is a villain. So Bahamut, my first legendary creature that we're seeing here on turn 9, first legendary card, Treasure Hoard 5. Pretty cool. Magnificent's going to have more than Treasure Hoard 5 pretty quickly though, and Big Bad Wolf will also come with it a treasure. And it will grab Treasure Hoard 5 because it is a villain. So that's definitely what I'm going to want here with a Hunt +8/+8. Really, really sweet. And then we get to pick up a blue tier treasure. And then, yeah, we'll see what else we get. That's what I was going to say. That will pump up the Big Bad Wolf, which now has Treasure Hoard, and it will continue to pump up Magnificent. So when one of your Hunt characters attacks, give all of your Hunt characters +3/+3. That's interesting because this is kind of like a River Wish Mermaid, right? Giving some things Hunt. Interesting. This is your first character, has Farewell +5/+5. Pretty great early. Does this pump up? Does this have the Hunt character pump up itself? I think it would. So that might have to be the goal, but then there's also Charlotte's Web. Your supports affect all of your characters, including themselves, which means we're going to be able to complete the Cruel Queen a lot quicker with that. But that doesn't necessarily bring the scaling that I want, does it? I think I'm going to go for the Mask of Infinite Rage. I think I appreciate that scaling more than anything else. Yeah. Master of the Universe is definitely kind of awkward on the board. I'm potentially looking to True Love's Kiss it, though it is a pretty good card. We don't have to rush to cut it. Like, it's our biggest card. It's awkward to call it awkward. It's just not contributing anyway. Can do something like this, at which point now all of these characters hunt, because I'm not sure if this Big Bad Wolf has its own hunt plus the Cruel Queen's hunt, giving it 2 separate hunt triggers. I don't think that's what was happening. So doing something like this, oh, what's awkward here is I would love to go like this, and then Magnificent is also getting the +3/+3, because I really don't care about the +3/+3 on Master. Maybe Master just has enough stats. That's definitely possible. Like, Magnificent, I think, is here to stay. Whereas Master's time is limited. Sure. Yeah, Master's time is limited. Let's pick this up, and then we can pick up... we've got one more shop. Forgot about that. Dragon Miser... Now with Treasure Hoard 2, it's just awkward because I don't want to cut the Cruel Queen until we complete it, which probably means I'm just taking Pan Shadow here and throwing it away. It is a villain. Pan Shadow is a villain. There's also Queen of Hearts, gets +8/+8 for each heart that you're missing. But yeah, I think I'm just going to grab a villain here in the form of Pan Shadow. Drink Me Shrink Tea is actually very strong as well. Shrink an enemy health to 1 for this battle. We've seen that previously. But for right now, I'm just going to give Magnificent a little +3/+3 action right there. Oh wait, I've got more? Jeez, okay. I did not realize that... Oh, because that was a silver Pan Shadow, right. So I get another pickup. Spoonful of Sugar, we've seen that. Wizard of Oz is kind of silly. It's support +2/+2 for each spell you've cast this game. Doesn't seem like I've cast that many, but I've cast a few, especially a few through the woods. I don't think it's going to make the cut on this board, but the Jealous Stepsisters, what's really interesting about them here, not that a common treasure is super important at this stage of the game, but it will immediately activate because it's a villain, so it will grab a treasure hoard, which will give it +3/+3, putting it above 6 attack, which means it will be able to do its thing. So I'm almost thinking now about cutting Snowball. Is that crazy? Should I cut Master of the Universe before I cut Snowball? No, I think I'm going to cut Snowball. And I'm going to do that because I want to pick up Jealous Stepsisters. It allows me to see another shop, and completing a quest, grabbing just a cheap treasure easily, is kind of what I'm looking to do right now. And it's a villain. I mean, I'm either doing this or I'm doing this. I think I want it, though. I think I want the treasure. Might be a little bit greedy, but I've got 2 hearts. I think I can afford to be greedy at this stage of the game. And then I immediately get to see the golden Stepsisters. Ninja in Trading is an animal with sneak and ranged, and Prince Charming, recruit, crack a heart. All Huff and All Puff deals 15 damage. If it KOs, give your characters 4. We're just going to pick up some treasures right now, though. I'm going to pick up the Stepsisters. I will grab a treasure because it is a gold character, and then I will grab a treasure in the combat. Options are Statue of Olympus at the start of your turn. Give a random slot +2/+2. Give 4 health to the first character you recruit. Kind of on the way off of that. And then Twin Shot, which will help us slay. But I think... I don't know. I mean, we're late enough in the game that it might just be Twin Shot over Statue. Maybe I'll grab Twin Shot off the Jealous Stepsisters quest, though. Yeah, let's just make sure we're slaying. Why not? I can see the Jealous Stepsisters up to 17 because it actually has Hoard 2. It grabbed an additional copy of Hoard every time I picked it up there. Will it actually... Wow, the Jealous Stepsisters I'm going to have to play for an additional turn here because it did not... it did not get to... even deal its damage. That's really silly. I might just do this or something now. Yeah, let's just make sure it happens. So, You Meet in the Tavern, we've seen that. Jill Sunshine is support +7. Pied Piper, really cool for animals. We are definitely not here, and it's not a villain, so I can't do anything fun with it. Your other animals have plus attack and health equal to mine. And then Long John's Silver, this is a silly one. Recruit bronze characters on your squad become silver. Not really like super important, but it is a villain, so I do think that it is worth grabbing here because that will throw an additional treasure hoard on Magnificent. And I'm just going to take Long John Silver and I'm going to throw him up there. And I think that that was pretty straightforward. Tin Man, Not really sure much I can do with that, but I think I am going to take it again just to pump up the Magnificent. You can see why Magnificent is good here, like when you've got nothing else to do, just using her. Now, you could argue for the Huff and All Puff here, and I don't think that's crazy either. It's probably better for the current board, but I kind of... Oh, and I don't know if I showed this off, but recruit characters in your shop get +3 attack. It's the opposite of Rose. I think I showed off Rose earlier, and typically this is a 1/1 that gives +1 attack, but we've drafted Pan Shadow twice, and those effects stack. So, the reason that I kind of like just drafting characters rather than spells is because by taking this Tin Man, I put the Silver Tin Man into the shops, and then I can grab the Silver Tin Man for free and pump up Magnificent from that. So I do tend to like doing that. And that's why I'm going to pass on Huff and All Puff, even though it seems like it's worse. I'd rather just take like the 15 damage to something. Magnificent potentially grabbing that buff and then potentially being able to find another treasure off of like making a character silver and then finding again and making it gold. Definitely something to consider here. We did complete 2 quests on this one. We're going to see the Cruel Queen and then the Jealous Stepsisters. Oh no, we're going to see them in the other order. 2 health on everything, 1 attack when you cast a spell, or 4 health to the first recruit. Let's just go 2 health on everything. And then we get to see our rare treasure. That could be Merlin's Tome. I did say that could be better at this stage of the game. Crow's Nest, 4+8+8, or Duck, which I think is really, really strong. Basically prevents scams from hitting you as hard. Ignore your opponent's first ranged or sneak attack. I do really like that one. So I'm going to grab that, and now we still have 2 more things to pick up on this fight. I'm going to rearrange to this for right now. The Horde 2 of Jealous Stepsisters, actually making it a pretty reasonable card, kind of randomly. Might just grab the Gingerbread here. Here is Robin Hood. Gonna kind of go through some of this stuff a little bit faster at this stage of the game. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick up a Magnificent buff, and then... So, Barrel of Monkeys is the big payoff. If you go animals, you fill your board with 1/1 toys. It's still okay for us because it's actually filling the board with 14 1 toys. And it's a villain. It doesn't create villains, but it's definitely worth considering in that capacity. And then there's also Spirit Dragon, which, you know what, I've never really played with, but I actually think it's quite good here. So it summons something. So that summon does get the +5 attack. That's the only thing that we're working with. But it will have Treasure Hoard 2 and then summon something with Treasure Hoard 3, which is about the same size as the Stepsisters. And while the Stepsisters has gotten a few Gravity Well triggers onto it, it is still worth replacing things in the Gravity Well because they're just going to get even better. So I do really like Barrel of Monkeys. Oh, we could also toss the Cruel Queen. Oh yeah, we're tossing the Cruel Queen at this point. I don't care about the... Oh, but the Cruel Queen is enabling the Mask of Infinite Rage. I forgot something that I totally... When I was talking about snowballing earlier, I was talking about all the cool things that you can do in this game. There's no limit to the amount of treasures that you can hold. An ability like Treasure Hoard might seem really silly until you realize there is no 3 treasure limit, there is no 10 treasure limit, there is no treasure limit. You just keep on taking treasures and keep on doing crazy stuff. And that is really what makes the game just like get crazy out of hand. You can see them like, oh yeah, but this synergy, which of my synergies do I want to play with? Which is really fun and allows for just some really crazy combo potential. And that is the reason that when I have the choice between a spell and a character, I will typically go for the character because that can give me more treasures, which can allow me to do some other crazy things down the line. So Now do we go for Barrel of Monkeys or Spirit Dragon? I think Barrel of Monkeys playing into the hero power a little bit in this endgame does actually seem pretty cool. So let's go for that. Still potentially looking to replace Master of the Universe, but I don't even know. And now we are in the finals. We can see that Witcher is the only bot remaining. So now what happens when you're in the finals, every battle, even if you only have one character remaining, every battle is for a full heart. So let's get into it. Let's see who is stronger. And yeah, this is probably just going to be a matter of pressing the battle button 2 more times. I don't know how much this player was able to scale up otherwise, but we're already beating them and we're already scaling and doing some other crazy things. I didn't pay too much attention to their board to know if like we could lightning bolt something. Here's Scarecrow. I'm just reading these cards real quick. I mean, I think I should take a villain, right? That makes a lot of sense. So if I take a villain, I give Magnificent +6/+6. If I... what's the other option here? Oh yeah, is +6/+6 better than a spell? Honestly, might not be, but I don't think I need the spell. So I'm just gonna take a villain, and then also like kind of when in doubt, sometimes I just grab a legendary card and throw it out because that puts in high, like silver legends and then gold legends to grab golden treasures or legendary treasures. Oh, here is the Pigomorph. We'll play this. This spell is busted. Transforms, and this will easily allow us to win this combat here. One of my opponent's cards just becomes a hungry hyena, and then we can easily hunt it and win this fight. And now my opponent is only down to just 1 heart remaining, and we should be able to finish them out with this one. Hercules is generally regarded as like the best card in the game. It then double this buff, not then add 1 to this buff, double this buff. So it's 10, then 20, then 40, and just gets absolutely ridiculous numbers very quickly. Ogre Magi, also a lot of fun, and probably what I'll pick up here instead of the big teeth. Yeah, we'll just grab another, I'm just showcasing that real quick. We'll just grab another hoard onto our Magnificent here. Treasure Hoard 9. That might be the most treasure hoard that I've ever had. Could take an Innkeeper just because it is a... just because it's a villain. It is kind of cool with hunts. I haven't actually played with the Innkeeper much. Conan's fun. Excuse me, but it's way too late in the game. We're just going to take a Lost in the Woods. Reason I went for Lost in the Woods, if we could find a silver villain, then we could like chain them for a little bit, so that's pretty cool. And now it is actually, it's not going to be a villain. I'm not going to pick up a villain here. We've seen Ninja Turtle and Frankenstein. I haven't shut off the Kraken yet. Hunt, give all 3 front row slots +8/+8. What I'm actually going to grab here is just a spell that gives me a common treasure. And that's actually so many more stats than just 1 additional copy of Treasure Hoard, which is just +6/+6 on Magnificent. This gives +9 to Magnificent, 2 to the stepmother or stepsisters, 2 to the Bad Wolf, and 1 to the Barrel of Monkeys. Plus, it might even be a relevant spell or relevant treasure here. This is on Recruits. This is on Cast a Spell. So I guess we're all done here. I'll just grab Breadcrumbs because I think that this treasure is really good. The first spell in, or each of your first shops has a Lost in the Woods, which allows you to just cycle through it. So let's take it out and let's win and finish this first video of Once Upon a Galaxy. Hopefully this was a fun introduction to the game, as well as being somewhat entertaining for people that are already familiar with some of the cards. I'm going to be putting out a bunch more Once Upon a Galaxy content. Future Once Upon a Galaxy content will probably not include me reading every single card. That's a lot. This is an hour something video. My voice is gone. One thing I was thinking about, so obviously I'm playing this game on my phone. We've got a lot of vertical real estate to the sides of the screen here. this is the easiest way to show them off. Yeah, over here and over there, everywhere. For right now, I'm not going to, I mean, it would be a lot of work, but like, so the game is just being developed for mobile. When I stream the game, I can throw chat there, I can throw alerts there, I could even throw another game there and be playing Pokemon in the same time. Not that I've played Pokemon in years, but you get the idea. So, like, maybe for like some videos I could have like pop-ups on the screen that explain some of the cards. The problem with that is they don't have like an easy way for me to rip the assets from the developers yet. I do kind of like stuff like that just because so much in the game is probably going to change before it gets released. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. I'm having a lot of fun with the game. You can request access to the closed beta on the official website. That is galaxygame.gg. I'll leave a link to that in the video description. But for today, hopefully this is a fun one. Let me know if you enjoyed this. But for today, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. One last thing. After you click the last button, it says win first place. You can save a screenshot of your final board. You can still read the cards on here. One thing that is a little bit awkward, once you start to have more than 6 treasures, they're just like off screen, so you stop being able to see them as easily. And then the only really thing that's in the game right now as far as a leaderboard is concerned is just counting how many wins players have. And the players that stream and are absolute nuts, they're going to have a bunch more wins than me. Always, this leaderboard isn't really going to be applicable to me for right now, but eventually I'm sure there will be ranked and other fun stuff in the game. But for today, that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.